Hey, what's up, everybody? Good morning, everybody. What's going on with y'all? Welcome to the Dayton Tolbert Show. I am your host, Dayton Tolbert. This is the original urban podcast. I want to thank y'all for joining me for another episode. Today, I want to get into something that I've talked about previously in great detail, which is Diddy, which is Cassie, which is this lawsuit. Well, not so much Cassie, but I talked about the whole Diddy situation, I want to say a few months ago. And I talked about why it's happening. I talked about the lawsuit that he filed against the alcohol company. I talked about some people that he pissed off along the way. And what I believe is the reason why we're seeing a lot of these legal proceedings. So if you guys missed those shows, I need everybody right now to go over to DaytonTolbertShow.com, subscribe. That's where you can find all the archives, all the past videos, Facebook Lives, IG Lives, whatever it is, the podcast, everything is right there at DaytonTolbertShow.com. I also need everybody to like and follow me on my main Facebook page. Just Facebook.com/DaytonTolbert. I appreciate you guys' support, and add yourselves to the Friends of the Dayton Tolbert Show group. But so today, I want to not so much focus on the reason for the lawsuit, but more so what we're hearing in the court proceedings thus far. Cassie is on the stand right now. She's testifying today. She testified yesterday. And I just wanted to talk about it. You know what I mean? I wanted to give my perspective on it. I've been very vocal on social media. In fact, I put up a post last night. People are still commenting, so I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody's opinion. But, the post was basically saying that nobody, forced her to allow someone to pee in her mouth. I don't believe that. That's my opinion. You would have to show me some evidence, which I haven't seen, and we don't know what will come out at the trial, but I haven't seen a lot of evidence that would suggest she was being held against her will for 11 to 12 years. Now, did certain things go on domestically, abuse-wise, violence-wise? Of course, we all saw it on the video, which I'll talk about. But there's also testimony that where she stated that she loves him, right? She was jealous of other women and him. She had affection towards him. She had strong feelings towards him. And so I've heard her say that, I was afraid of what he might do, but what I did not hear is what would happen if and when you tried to leave. You know what I mean? And let me just say this to start out. Somebody commented on my one of my posts saying, "Well, you obviously have never been abused. You've never been in an abusive relationship, and and all these things." And I haven't. I'm not an abuser, nor have I been abused. However, as a life coach for over 20 years, I've actually helped thousands of women walk away from abusive situations, right? So I've actually heard countless accounts of women, dealing with these situations, walking away. I provided resources to help with walking away. I've heard them cry. I've given them this advice on what to do, and I've helped them, and many of them are now removed from that situation, happily married, doing well. And so, no, I have not experienced it firsthand, but I have helped many women in Cassie's situation. And what I did not see is those women staying for an extended amount of time. But I'll come back to it because I want to get more deep into it. But one of the things we got to look at as far as this trial goes is, and really keep in mind, what is he being charged with? Okay, Diddy is not being charged with domestic violence. Diddy is not being charged with being a bad boyfriend or even being an abusive boyfriend. What he's being charged with, and this is where it's a little perplexing to me, is it's like a RICO case, which is an ongoing criminal enterprise with multiple people. And Diddy is the only person right now being thrust into the limelight, into the spotlight, when we have all these other people who are labeled as co-conspirators. Well, who are these co-conspirators? Because you can't have a criminal enterprise by yourself. And that's what we talked about previously when we talked about how the media protects those who they want to protect. There are very powerful people that were at these freak-offs. There are very powerful people that were participating in these alleged acts of violence, of sex crimes, but for whatever reason, they are not being put out there. The only name that you see is Diddy. And I just need people to understand, he is not the only person being accused of these crimes. And so we got to look at what's the reason for that. But like I said, we can talk about that a little bit later. But one of the things I want to get into is, and again, we have to look at, while we're looking at what is he being charged with versus what they're focusing on. They're focusing on a lot on their relationship. Because a lot of these charges stem from prostitution and sex trafficking, meaning trafficking sex workers from place to place to place. It's like almost like they're talking about human trafficking and sex trafficking. And to me, and this is what the basis of the last video I did discussing this was. It's like, is it sex trafficking, or you just got a bunch of freaks wanting to have a good time? Like I said, I've been to these parties, not no crazy stuff, but I'm saying I've been to parties where there've been a lot of freaky things happening, and I've never seen anyone raped. I've never seen anyone do things that they did not want to do. And typically when you have these freak-offs, it's one big thing where everybody's having a good time. And we have to really look at, man, we got to be honest about this stuff. And I think what's happening is people are not being honest. There's so many different subtopics of this I want to get into, and we got some time, but I'm going to jump ahead a little bit because it's on my mind. I understand this for the women. I understand that, we're not in college anymore. We're not even in our 20s anymore, a lot of y'all. We are in a place where we have families, we have jobs, careers, kids, church families, responsibilities. And, a lot of these things that women did, some of you did, some of these people did, Cassie did, whoever, all these women did in college back in the day, they would like those things to stay hidden. They would like those things to stay buried. And that's fine. I think back to college. I know one woman, she was the campus whore. She was literally I'll tell you a story. There was one guy I knew, he was prostituting this young woman and she didn't even know it. What do I mean by that? Well, I remember this young woman, and obviously she'll remain nameless, but she was having sex with this guy. And the guy was like, yo, y'all want to go you want some easy sex? And it was a group of, I was there, it was a group of us. I'm like, I'm good, bro. I don't need anybody, facilitating anything for me. But the offer was, yo, you just show up to this room, you pay me $100, $200, whatever you wanted. You show up and it'll go down. And a lot of guys took advantage of that offer. And they were passing this woman around. She didn't even know that they were exchanging money. She was just down for the cause. Sometimes they would run a train on her. Sometimes it would be a one-on-one type of thing, but she was being prostituted. And so what I'm saying, and I could show you who this was. I could put up her profile right now and show you 10 different dudes that took advantage of her. Well, that took advantage of that offer and had sex with her. And so what I'm saying to y'all is we have to understand that just because you did something back in the day that you're not proud of, something that you did that you don't want the world to know, it doesn't make it wrong. It doesn't make it rape. It doesn't make it assault. It doesn't mean let's decide to, destroy somebody's whole career based on this accusation. It doesn't mean let's go ahead and put something in the media so I can get a check, so I can get a settlement. That's what should not be happening. And I see that far too often because somebody finds out about it, and instead of just owning it, instead of just saying, hey, yeah, I did this or whatever, they have to change the narrative. Let's change the narrative to make me a victim. And everybody is not. Some people, and again, this is no disrespect to actual victims. This is no disrespect to people who were raped, to anyone who was assaulted, but everyone was not raped. Just because you let multiple men run a train on you does not mean you were gang banged or you were gang raped or gang assaulted. It just means back then you were a freak. Maybe you're not a freak anymore. You know what I mean? Maybe you are chained. Maybe you did give your life to God, which is great. But at some point, you still have to acknowledge, hey, I did these things. There's a big debate going on. We've had this debate many times over the years of, body counts. Does body count matter? And it's crazy to see so many women will say, well, I don't see why it matters. And I'm not telling you my body count. I'm just going to lie. I'm just going to say, it was 4 when it's really 40. Why does it matter what I did? Well, what do you mean? Why does it matter? Why does your credit score matter? Why does your criminal background matter? Why does anything matter? Because people have a right to know, and that's all I'm saying. We are living in a world where people want to live in this fantasy where they don't want to take responsibility. And this is for men too. There are a lot of men who do not want to take responsibility for what they did. And there's a lot of women that do not want to take responsibility for the things that they've done. I believe, personally, Cassie is one of those individuals who did a lot of things. She made decisions that she is not proud of. One of those decisions being to stay with Diddy, deal with Diddy for so long, and she is not happy about that. So as a result, she said, hey, I have an opportunity in this Me Too movement culture, in this new society, 2025, where I can get paid, I can live life differently. I'm pregnant, I have kids, I have a new husband. I'm willing to, if people are going to know and they saw me do all these things, at least I'm going to get paid for it. That's where we're at right now. Because my whole thing about it is, look, Cassie did not file a criminal lawsuit against Diddy. She did not file this is not a criminal case. She filed a civil case against Diddy with the hope that he would settle, which he ultimately did. And she got about $30 million. Which, okay, fine. Diddy didn't want to go through this situation. He said, hey, we're going to pay you. You keep quiet, and that'll be that. And my whole thing about it is, I don't agree with that. However, you know what I mean? I don't agree with that. 30 years later, 20 years later, however many years later, well, in that case, it was what, 2018, 2017, 2018. I don't agree with that because she's now testifying. I'll tell you all a story. I was, and I can't speak about it really, but as far as specifics, but back in the day, I was involved in a multi-million-dollar class action lawsuit where a bunch of us got large sums of money for being mistreated in this work environment. And this, if I told you the company, you'd be like, oh, snap. If I told you the company, you'd be like, okay. And there's a reason why we had to sign a non-disclosure agreement. What is a non-disclosure? A non-disclosure agreement is when you receive money, but they don't want their reputation tarnished. They don't want their image harmed by this story. Not saying you're right, not saying they're wrong. It's not accepting any guilt or responsibility. It's just saying, hey, we want this to go away. So I got this money, I signed this form, so I can't even say their name. And so now their reputation is intact. Everybody's happy. I got what I wanted. I got the money. They get to keep their reputation, and everybody moves on from there. I believe that's how this Cassie situation should have gone. Because my thing about it is, what was the point of Diddy paying her? The whole point of him paying her this $30 million was so that he could avoid everything he's going through. You know what I'm saying? That was the whole point of it. Why did he pay that $30 million? What did he gain from paying her that $30 million? You settled. It was a civil case. It wasn't even criminal. It was civil. He paid her $30 million. My thing about it, so I don't know the legal aspect of it, but I think there should have been some type of non-disclosure agreement that spanned not just the civil case, but the criminal case or any future cases as well. Because what happened is the feds picked this up and said, hey, we got these other victims. We got this investigation going, and we want you to cooperate, Cassie. Now, could the feds have done this case and prosecuted this case, pursued this case without Cassie? Absolutely. But it would not have been as strong. It would not have been as many eyes on it. It would still have been eyes on it, but it would not have been as strong without Cassie's testimony. And she's spilling all the beans. So my thing about it is, to me, the honorable thing to do in this instance would be, yo, you gave me $30 million. So you know what? If you want to prosecute Puff, do what you got to do, but I'm not going to participate in that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to testify. I'm not going to go ahead and tell all these things because we came to an understanding. That's just my perspective on it. You know what I'm saying? But I just don't think that's right. You know what I'm saying? Why are you testifying and you already got paid? What is the point of that? It's like, I'll give you an example. Look at Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick sued, he was taking a knee in the NFL, and then he was out of the league. You know, he didn't get picked up. Nobody wanted to put him on the team. So he filed a lawsuit against the NFL. Right? And, you know, they settled with Colin Kaepernick. That's when they brought Jay-Z on as a creative consultant. That's why we've had a black halftime show for the last, 6-7 years or whatever. That's why the NFL has donated to all types of urban, initiatives, philanthropic endeavors that benefit black people in the black community, black businesses. All this stuff has been great. Colin Kaepernick got a settlement. Ever since then, we haven't heard anything from Colin Kaepernick. We haven't heard Colin Kaepernick protesting against the NFL. We really haven't heard anybody protest. All that, I'm not watching the NFL. All that's over with. Because the NFL settled with Colin Kaepernick. There's no point in protesting anymore. Yeah, we can still protest the police brutality and things like that. But as far as Colin Kaepernick is concerned, he took the payoff. He took the payoff. I took the payoff. I'm not going to go still talk trash about this company when they already compensated me. They compensated Colin Kaepernick. We got a black, we got Rihanna, we got who else? Everybody, Bruno Mars, Usher, and whoever else at these Super Bowl, Kendrick Lamar. What else do we want? The NFL isn't doing anything wrong by us anymore. We worked it out. So I'm just asking y'all, what Do y'all not think that's not okay? That she's sitting up on that stand testifying after she already got paid. She could have still testified without the money. Let me move on. Because I just think that's crazy. Now, let me say this. Is Diddy innocent of everything? Absolutely not. Is Diddy even innocent? I don't know if he's innocent or not. I don't know if he's guilty or not. He might be guilty of everything. I'm just talking about what's right versus wrong. Let me see the evidence. I haven't seen any evidence of sex trafficking. Who did he assault? You know what I mean? Like, so if we're talking about this video, can we talk about the video that we've all seen? We've all seen this video. That video is extremely disturbing. And Diddy, I posted on the caption, is Diddy a monster? 100%. 100%. You beat a woman like that. You drag a woman. You kick a woman. Like, come on, man. You're not even a man at that point. You know, that is what you call domestic abuse, domestic violence. That is assault. But as far as this other stuff is concerned, I haven't seen, and it's really disingenuous that the prosecution is using this domestic violence video to push the narrative to make their case against, for sex trafficking and all this other stuff, when there's really no evidence of that. You know what I mean? Like I said, I haven't seen the evidence. They called one of the sex workers to testify. I don't know if y'all been following, but they called this sex worker to testify, and he testified that he was paid for sex from Diddy to have sex with Cassie while Diddy sat across the room and masturbated. Which is crazy. Which kind of really makes me think about that Biggie line, sexing me while your man masturbate. What was that? One more chance? That's wild, man. That's a wild line, man. But Diddy he knows all about that. He was sitting across the room masturbating while another man had sex with Cassie, and then he testified that it wasn't Diddy, but it was actually Cassie who asked him to pee in her mouth. That's what he said. And I guess this was supposed to be the prosecution's star witness who was supposed to reveal all this stuff, but you basically just helped the defense. You basically just said that she asked for it. She asked him to pee in her mouth. Not Diddy. He was just sitting back chilling. Which is not to say he didn't orchestrate this whole thing, but it's like, you watch these interviews, whether it's Gene Deal and all these other guys that have been around them over the years. I mean, we've seen them. In fact, Boosie is being criticized right now because he's like, yo, she liked it. He said she probably came. She probably enjoyed it. She probably had an orgasm. She was a freak. And what y'all gotta realize is, I've seen women like that. I've been with women like that, who were freaks to the point, and this is where it's gotta be real. I'm not gonna sugarcoat this stuff. There are women out here, maybe not you, and you, who are listening in right now, but there are women out here who are into you so much that they are willing to literally do whatever you say and whatever you want them to do whenever you want them to do it. There are women like that exist. They are willing to do things, and not just willing to do things, but enjoy doing things to the point where you would be like, wow, she must have been forced to do that. And the men listening know what I'm saying is the truth. There's no rape involved, no assault involved. She's just a freak. And I think what we're living in is a society with this Me Too movement, this cancel culture, and everybody's all of a sudden, a saint. Everybody's so goody two-shoes. Mary Poppins over there. Nobody did any freaky things back in the day. Nobody went to college. Nobody went to the frat parties. Nobody stayed for the after parties. Nobody knows what it's like to get drunk and have a one-night stand in a college dorm room with a guy you don't even know. Nobody did that. You know what I mean? Nobody knows what that's like. Nobody's Young Miami said she likes getting pissed on. I haven't heard Young Miami accuse anybody of rape. She said, go pull it up. Young Miami from the City Girls said she likes getting pissed on. But again, I'm 47. I've been hearing about women getting pissed on back in the day. You know, that's not my thing, but this is a known thing. Some women like that. Many women like that. Y'all talking about eating ass? Y'all out here eating dudes' asses, and you letting a dude eat your ass, but getting pissed on is out of the question? Nah, some of y'all are freaks. Am I right or wrong? Right or wrong? Some of y'all like doing freaky things that you don't even tell your best friend. Why? Because they would look at you like you're crazy. Some of y'all have best friends. Some of y'all have girlfriends that you don't remember. I did a show back in the day on Love Jones. Who remembers that classic show? Classic show back in the day. This was like 07, 08 I did this show. And I focused on, one of the points I focused on was how, remember in the movie where Nia Long was like, oh yeah, I had, she was like, wait, you had sex with him. And she's like, whatever. She's like, girl, you a hoe. She was embarrassed to even tell her friend, her best friend, that she had sex with Lorenz Tate. Y'all remember that? And that was just regular sex. That wasn't no getting pissed on. That wasn't no, I ate his ass, he ate my ass, or we did this, that, and the third. That was just, girl, you a hoe. And she was embarrassed about that. So some of y'all in that same way are embarrassed to tell your girlfriends you let a dude piss on you. Now, I'm not asking y'all to raise your hands on the live and admit to getting pissed on, but my point is, many women love it. Many women love it. I debate. Remember, we had this whole conversation about Donald Trump. Who remembers my special on Locker Room Talk? Now, I'm not talking about Donald Trump raping anybody. I'm not talking about Trump assaulting anybody. I'm not talking about none of that. But one of the things that he said to Billy Bush on camera was that when these women are into you, when you're a celebrity, all you got to do is grab them by the pussy. And he said, and they love it. Now, is that true for everybody? No, it's not. No, it is not. Should you assault somebody? Should you grab somebody in an unsolicited manner? No, you should not. That would be assault. But the essence of it is that there are women who do love when you grab them, you smack their ass, you grab them by the vagina, and they let, oh, stop. Ooh, stop, don't do that. What you mean? They like it. You see what I'm saying? He said they like it. Donald Trump said, yo, I gotta give me some mints. He said I start kissing them in the mouth. I start kissing them like a bitch. He said they love it. And many of them do. This is the uncomfortable conversation that many women don't want to have, but watch this. A lot of men don't even want to have. Some men, some fat, nasty bastard looking like men right now are mad at me and scrunching their face up at me and saying, oh, this guy's crazy. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Why? Because they don't like it when you do it. They love it when I do it, though. That's the problem. There are men, listen to what I'm saying to y'all. There are men out here who have never done the things that I've done. Never done the things some of my friends have done. They have no idea what the hell Donald Trump is talking about. They can't relate to a woman being so into them that they want you to piss on them. They don't even know what that's like. They barely get asked to begin with. They don't even get sex. Let alone the type of sex where a woman will say, Daddy, I want you to piss on me. And I'm not even speaking, I never did no crazy crap like that. I'm just saying there are women like that. But we gotta be clear. You gotta be a certain type of dude to get that type of treatment. And if you ain't that dude, you're probably gonna think there's something wrong with what Donald Trump said. You don't understand what Cassie saw in Diddy that made her stay for 11 years. Young Miami and all these other women. I don't even want to use them as an example because these guys are being demonized and they probably are demons and monsters and all that other stuff. But I'm trying to get y'all to understand every woman that, or every man that has women do certain things is not a monster. Sometimes they're just dealing with the freak. Am I lying, fellas? I see some of y'all listen. Tell me I'm lying. I have been in a situation. I've been in multiple situations. I'll tell y'all a story. Y'all know I got stories. I was in a club, and I might have even told the story on air before, but I was in a club, Palmer's, if you're from Philly, Palmer's Social Club, which is back in the day, it was very exclusive. You had to have a password to get in. You had to know somebody to get in. You had to be that guy to get in. You had to come dressed a certain way. You had to look a certain way. And it was a bunch of just good-looking people in there. If you were a bum, you weren't getting in. It was nothing but beautiful women and nothing but thorough dudes in there. 6 in Spring Garden in Philly, if you look it up. And I remember I was up in there posted up with my homies one day. And I was a nice guy. I'm still a nice guy. I've always been a nice guy. And I was just posted up. And I would see women getting grabbed on. And they loved it, grinding up, backing that ass up, twerking and stuff like that. And I'm chilling. My whole thing was, excuse me, miss, you mind if I have this dance? You mind? Can I dance with you for a second? Can I talk to you for a minute? Like, I was always very respectful, and that usually worked pretty well for me. I was able to get multiple numbers and things like that. But I remember one instance where this young woman, I was like, excuse me, can I talk to you for a minute? Can I dance with you for a second? She just walked right by me, played me. I was like, okay. I don't care. I didn't care, but I was like, wow. She just literally played me. Walked right by me and gave me a look. I was like, all right. And then I see she walks down over there, and then this guy just grabs her. He just literally grabs her, and she just starts backing it up on him. I'm looking like, yo, that's wild. Like, you just played me. And so that showed me something. Something clicked in my mind. It was like, wow, that nice guy stuff doesn't work on everybody, right? That nice guy stuff doesn't fly for every woman. Some women actually want to get grabbed. Some women actually like to get gripped up. Some women like to be choked during sex. Did y'all know that? I mean, come on, you know that. Because you like it. You know what I'm saying? Don't act like you don't like, you know what I'm saying? You don't know what I'm talking. Now nobody knows what I'm talking about. Come on, man. Many women like rough sex. Who saw Baby Boy, Tyrese and Taraji? They like that. Is that everybody? No. But all I'm trying to get y'all, because most men won't tell you this and most women won't tell you this, but we have to understand that everything that looks a certain way is not rape. I'll tell you one more story. Hopefully my wife isn't listening. I'm telling these real stories, but I had this young woman. I went to this, this was really crazy too. I went to this party and it was like an after hour spot. And so we didn't get there till like 1:30, 2 o'clock. And I was chilling. And I remember there was this young woman, we were dancing or whatever, and I sat down. And she came over to me. She just kept dancing on me. She's like, you tired? I'm like, I'm chilling, right? I was dancing, sitting on a little lounge chair. She started just sitting on my lap, like dancing on me, basically giving me a lap dance. I'm like, oh man, this is what we do. I said, I'm about to get up out of here, but man, what's up though? Like, what we doing? You know what I'm saying? You try to go back to the crib or whatever the case was. So long story short, we ended up going back to her crib. And I'm thinking it's 3 in the morning. You know what I'm saying? It's 3 in the morning. Like nobody's stupid. Nobody is, 13, 14 years. We're grown. I mean, I was young, but at the same time, I'm still grown. Like, it's 4 in the morning. What we doing? You know what I'm saying? We're not going back to watch TV. So we go back to her crib, and ironically, we were watching TV. So I'm like, yo, like, what's up? You know what I'm saying? So she's, I start, doing what I'm doing. Taking the bra off and, kissing and different things like that. You know, I'm thinking look, I gotta work in the morning. I had to be up. That was on a Sunday, the Sunday spot, and we used to go to, and it's like 4 a.m. I'm like, I gotta get up. It's, you know what I mean? Like, I ain't got time to be sitting around watching TV playing this what I call tug of war with the panties. I try to pull the panties down. Oh no, stop. What are you doing? What am I doing? What do you think I'm doing? It's 4 a.m. You just got done giving me a lap dance in the club. Like, so long story short, she's like, stop. No. So we go back and forth for a little bit. I'm like, look, man, I'm not, you know what I'm saying? First of all, I'm not trying to get a rape charge. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to waste any more time. I'm like, look, all right, I'm gonna holler at you another time, man. You know, and I just rolled out. What's that song? If at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. Nobody's doing that, ladies. See, what happens is many women, not all women, I don't want to minimize rape, but we do have to speak about the uncomfortable reality that there are many women that play what I call sex games. Google sex games on the Dayton Tolbert show. Oh my God, classic show, all-time classic show, where we talked about, you know, the games that women play. Now, do men play games? We're not doing all that tit for tat stuff. Okay, men play games, obviously. But I'm talking about women who play sex games, meaning they will tell you no on the first time. But the reality is they ultimately know they're going to say yes. Okay, I'm going to make him jump through this hoop. I'm going to make him jump through that hoop. I'm going to tell him, look, I don't want to seem easy. I don't want to seem like I do this all the time. So I'm not going to let it. We're going to do it by the end of the night. And I had one woman, we went through that whole routine. It's for hours. Tug of war with the pennies. Come on, watch the movie. Stop. Why you got to keep touching me? Why are you touching me? Come on, leave me alone. Let me watch the movie. Like, what the hell you doing? You're in your panties. Like, your breasts are out. Like, we're watching it. Like, come on, man. And she knew what she was doing. And we did it later on, probably 30 minutes later. But it's like, why are you playing the games? You see what I'm saying? Now, some people, well, no means no. No didn't mean no. That's the thing. Yo, is anybody other than me going to talk about the realness? In that instance, no did not mean no. And she knows it didn't mean no. Because we had sex. Perfectly consensual. You know what I'm saying? And many women know what I'm talking about. Men talk about this stuff privately, but they're too scared to talk about it in a real way so that women can understand, like, yo, stop playing these games. Stop playing these games. Andrea Constand was playing these damn games with Bill Cosby. She was having a 2 to 3 year relationship or affair with Bill Cosby. And then drugs, the Quaaludes, all that stuff. Then all of a sudden, he raped me? She was his jump off for years. Bill was cheating on Camille with Andrea Constand for years. So, what part of the game is your jump off, is your side chick suing you for rape? Like, what are we doing? 30 years later? Like, what are we talking about? They got Donald Trump on a $100 million lawsuit from some chick that he was smashing, the white chick, I forget her name. He met her in the dressing room. I'm gonna tell you a story. He met her in the dressing room. He was walking through the mall with her because they were already having sex. She went into the dressing room to try on some clothes. And he followed her into the dressing room and he raped her in the dressing room in broad daylight in a shopping mall, in a department store. Come on, man. Like, I don't care. I don't like Donald Trump. You don't like Donald Trump. You don't have to like Donald Trump. But to suggest that you got raped in broad daylight in a dressing room where cameras are all around, and now 30 years later, and you're going to sue this man for rape? And come on, man. One more story, you know, and I think about it because that literally happened to me. I'm going to tell y'all these real stories to help y'all understand. I was dealing with this woman. We're walking, same exact situation. I was dealing with her. We had been dealing with each other. She's like, oh yeah, let's go into Victoria's Secret. I'm like, okay. So we go into the Victoria's Secret in the mall. And she's like, all right, oh, I'm going to go try this on. All right, whatever. Like, I'm not even trying to be in the mall, let alone, you know, back in the day, you didn't want to be walking around with these women. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't the thing to do, but it just so happened that I ended up walking around with y'all. The fellas know what I'm talking about. Some chicks you want to be seen out with, others you don't. She was one of the ones I didn't, but I was on that day. So she's like, you know, in the Victoria's Secret, talking about some, you know, you open the door, she cracks the door, sticks her head through. Come here. I'm looking around like, and this is in Victoria's Secret in the mall. Come here. I'm like, all right, so I go up in there. She's in the you know what I mean? So I go in there. You know what I'm saying? She said, come here. So I go up in there. Now, I'll let y'all use y'all's imagination about what happened next. But my point is, what would I look like raping her in that moment in the dressing room? Would that even make sense? So my point, I'm just, again, there are certain men who have never and will never and can't even imagine something like that happening to them with a bad chick. So their mind cannot fathom that could be anything other than rape because they've never done it. There are women who have never done anything like that. So they can't even imagine doing something like that. So if someone did something like that, it must have been rape. It must have been. Or maybe she was just a freak and she said, come here, because she wanted some in that moment on that freak stuff. And that's what we have to do. We have to train our minds to understand that everything is not what it seems. Now, rape is rape. Don't get me wrong. I don't want this to be misconstrued. Rape is rape when it's rape. But everything isn't rape. You know what I mean? But back to this. You know, in fact, a buddy of mine asked me. He asked me the other day. He's like, yo, bro, let me ask you a question. He said, realistically, could that happen to you, bro? Is there a woman from your past that could realistically accuse you of rape, you know, 30 years later, 20 years later, whatever the case is? And I had to think about it. And the answer to that question was, a lie is a lie. I said, I've never raped anybody. I've never assaulted anybody. So anyone can realistically make up a lie. You know what I'm saying? Any man, that could happen to any man. You know, have I had trains and threesomes and all? Yeah. Could someone say, hey, he did something I didn't like? That would be a lie. That would be an emphatic lie, a bold-faced lie. But could it happen? Absolutely. One more story. I was dealing with this woman back in the day, and she lived in the dorms at a very prestigious university. I'll just say that to, you know, we'll keep her identity, you know, secret. But she went to like an Ivy League school, and she was very high sedity, very bougie, if you will. And we were dealing with each other, and you know, just one of those things. You know, we're chilling in the dorm room, or whatever, and you know, she was like, you know, we were getting into it. You know what I'm saying, fooling around a little bit, and she was almost naked, no bra on, panties on, and I had the condom in my wallet ready to go because I already knew what time it was. You know, I'm not stupid. And so we're doing what we're doing, chilling, you know, messing around. And all of a sudden I go for the, and I was slick with it. Some of y'all don't know this trick, but I was slick with it. I was slick with it to the point where we're kissing and stuff. And next thing you know, the condom was on. Voila. You know what I'm saying? It's like magic. Like, what? She's like, what? Whoa. You wouldn't even, you would have thought my hands were, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was magic. But, I slipped it on. She didn't even know, didn't miss a beat. If you guys can read between the lines, condom is on, you know what I'm saying? I'm ready. And all of a sudden, I'm thinking we about to, you know what I'm saying, get it in. What are you doing? What stop? What? You good? Like, what? You're naked, bro. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you're literally naked. What are you? And she genuinely looks surprised. Like, what do you think we're doing? Like, are you serious? Like, what are you? I can't believe you. These chicks are crazy, man. I can't believe you would do that. I'm like, do what? What do you mean? Just stop. I'm like, okay, my bad. Like, okay. So I'm chilling. We go back to watching a movie or whatever we're doing. So and mind you, she's still naked. I'm in my boxers. I'm like, okay. So I started touching on it again, you know what I'm saying? And I go to get, start it again. And she jumps on me. What? I said stop. What are you doing? I'm like, yo, man, are you serious? You joking? No, I can't. I said stop. You know what? I think you should leave. I think you should just leave. I'm like, all right, man. Like, I'm out, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? And my point is, if you guys understand this, tell me in the comments. Let me know, was I wrong? What did I do wrong? The chick is butt naked, so did I get up and leave? I left, and that was that. She called, what? I promise you, she calls me later on. Why'd you leave? I you know what I'm saying? Why did I leave? You see the games that I'm talking about. You see the games. What do you mean, why did I leave? You just told me to leave. You told me to stop. So what? You're not coming back over? You see those, like, and I talk to men about this. Women are like, oh my God, I can't believe she did. But this is commonplace. I'm doing this show just to pass along information. There's a reason you don't ever really hear men disagreeing and debating with me about these things, because they know what I'm saying is true. That not only do they know it, they've experienced it. These same stories I'm telling you, these men, not all men, some men are losers, bro. Some men are absolute losers. They are cornball dudes, or some aren't even cornballs. They just weren't able to do those things, and that's fine. Everybody's not me or whoever, but a lot of these women do play games. Was Cassie playing games? I don't know. Let's move along. One of the things we got to understand is that, Cassie is one of these women where she has to look at her husband. Her husband has to look at her every day after hearing the testimony of this man peeing in her mouth. She kisses her husband knowing she let a man piss in her mouth. And I was debating with a friend of mine the other day. I said, bro, that's too much. I said, I can't kiss a woman after she doesn't let a man piss in her mouth. He said, why not? That was 20 years ago. I said, I don't care if it was 50 years ago. I don't care if it was in another lifetime. I'm not doing it. You know what I'm saying? But again, that's just me. I'm not the type of man that wants a woman that allowed a man to run a train on her and all this other stuff. Some men, she's fine for some men. Just like there's some men who women don't want as a result of their past. That's their prerogative. I hate when women want to impose their views on your prerogative. You know what I'm saying? If you have a certain prerogative to not deal with a woman who is over a certain body count or a woman who has done certain things, that is up to them. You don't get mad at men who don't want to date single moms. Don't get mad at men who don't want a woman after she is a reformed prostitute, a reformed whore, a reformed campus freak. That's, you know what I'm saying? Everybody doesn't want that for their life. And that's okay for them to not want that. You might not want a murderer who did his time and got out of jail. I know women, you might not want a man who was molested as a child. I said, why wouldn't you date a man who was molested? I don't know. He might still be struggling with some things. Well, what if he's healed? Nah, I don't know. I think there might be some gay up in him. This is what women have told me. I said, so what? He's gay just because he's been molested? I don't know. He might be. I think I'm good on that. I wouldn't date him. Okay. Ask your friends. Ask your friends. Like, yo, would you ever date a man who was sexually molested by a man and watch their reaction? So why is it a problem when men say, I don't want to date a woman who had piss in her mouth? You know what I'm saying? My whole thing about it is everybody wants this amnesty. Everybody wants to be, looked at as brand new. Jesus can look at you as brand new. God can make you do a new thing. He can make you a new creature, a new being. That's fine. But the moment I find out about it, I have the right, I have the prerogative to be like, you know what? That's too much for me. You see what I'm saying? And that's what women don't want to hear. If you didn't want a man to make that decision about you, you should have thought twice before you allowed his homie to enter the room. Like, oh, what are you doing here? What are you doing? I thought it was just going to be me and you tonight. Why is he here? Oh, no. He just needed to, he's my ride for the night. Oh, okay. All right, well, did you want something to eat? Next thing you know, y'all all having a threesome. Excuse me. Y'all running a train. If y'all missed my special on the difference between a train and a threesome, go to DateOnTolbertShow.com. All the archives are right there. But it's important for y'all to understand the difference. Some of y'all don't know the difference. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to talk long. I'm going to wrap it up. But, as we continue to watch this trial unfold, and the facts come out, I just want us to and keep an open mind. Did Diddy do all the things he's accused of? Possibly. Who knows? I don't know. But I want y'all to understand that everything is not what it seems. There are some women who are freaks and actually like all the things that these men are doing to them, even though they are things you might not be able to imagine a woman would enjoy. I could tell you, and those stories I told y'all, those are way PG stories. The problem is I got back in the day, y'all used to, I've been on, that's the original urban podcast. I started all this stuff. Y'all see, man, this is the number one urban podcast, the original urban podcast. When I started doing this, the stories I used to tell, I didn't have kids. My kids weren't even alive. Now my daughter and her friends listen to the podcast. What's up, kids? You know what I mean? So I got to keep it PG for y'all. I got to keep it PG. But, you get my point. But some of this stuff is crazy. And I would just use this as a cautionary tale. Men, educate your kids, specifically your daughters, on the importance of not playing these sex games. And women, mothers, educate your daughters on the importance of not playing games, but from different perspectives. Don't, it's not cute. It's not funny. There's nothing sexy about cat and mouse. There's nothing cute about it. It's not, it's not a turn on. We don't want to jump through hoops. We don't want to play games. If you're going to give up sex, give up sex. I advise women to keep your legs closed. I'm the only person out here telling women to keep their legs. I've been telling women to keep their legs closed for 20 years. I'm the only person on the internet telling women to keep their legs closed. And right or wrong. Right or wrong. What other life coach have you ever seen? Name anybody you can think of that encourages women to practice abstinence as a way to avoid many of the uncomfortable circumstances they find themselves in. Would Cassie be going through any of this if she kept her legs closed? No, she would not. Name any celebrity who was in any of these situations. Would they be going through it if they kept their legs closed? Nope. Not at all. Stop letting these men disrespect you. Stop letting these men piss in your mouth. Stop letting these men ejaculate inside you. Forget a condom. You're letting these men bust up inside you, and then you want to complain like he's a deadbeat. He didn't want the baby to begin with. He didn't even want you to begin with. So, you know what I'm saying? And that's not to excuse anything. It's saying protect yourself. I'm going to tell my daughter to protect herself. I'm not going to put it on the man. Protect yourself. Don't let these men have sex with you. Stop letting the grown-ass women, I'm telling this to now, stop letting these men, forget these kids. I need to be telling y'all women, y'all are still 40 years old, letting men run up in you raw. And you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. And then you wonder why you got the soul tie. You wonder, damn, why can't I get this man off my mind 30 years later? You know what? Damn, I'm going to sue this dude. You're suing him because the soul tie has not been broken. Soul ties stay with you forever. You know what I'm saying? Or at least until they're removed by God. But some of y'all aren't doing the repentance to the work that's needed for the soul tie to be broken. So now you still hung up on a man and what he did to you 20 years later. No, he didn't rape you. He just did you wrong. And now you want to sue him. Now you want to put him in jail. You want to extort him because you let him have sex with you. You let him piss on you. Is that excusing any of the behavior of these men? No, it is not. But I don't care about the men. I'm trying to help the women. I have a daughter. I'm trying to help her avoid being pissed on. Avoid having to feel like 30 years later, I got to get revenge. When you are happy and you are content with your life, you are not thinking about no man from 30 years ago. Andrea Constant was not happy with her life. Cassie is not happy. She's not happy with her life. These people are miserable. Those soul ties are eating them alive. So they have to feel like, I got to get back at him. I never did anything to anybody that they would need to get back at me 30 years later, 40 years, 30, whatever the case. I never did nothing like that. But the point is, when you are happy and you are healed, what I do with TRC Life Coaching, go to trclifecoaching.com and you can click on testimonies. You will see all the women who are healed because of me and how I've helped them walk away from those situations. Somebody should have gave Cassie my number back then and I could have helped her walk away. You see what I'm saying to y'all? A lot of people listening in silence right now are healed because they called that number, because they went to TRC Life Coaching. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you do, whoever you go to is fine. Just make sure you are healed. Make sure you're not walking around with a soul tie. You know what I'm saying? Because a soul tie will make you bash the windows out his car. Jasmine Sullivan. You know what I'm saying? And that's not what I want for anybody. I definitely don't want that for my kids, women I care about. Some of y'all right now are listening like, yo, I hate this dude, Dedan. I can't stand this nigga. Why? If you are listening right now thinking that, it's because you are dealing with an unresolved soul tie. You are dealing with it. If you hate me for what I'm saying, if you did not enjoy this show, if you are listening, if you had anything negative to say about anything I've said today, you are dealing with an unresolved soul tie, I guarantee you. You know what I'm saying? Because there's somebody in your life that you did something with. Whether he pissed on you, he ate your ass and never called you again, whatever, hit it raw doggy, ran a train on you with his homies, invited his buddy in, got you drunk, drugged you, whatever he did, you did not heal from that properly. And it's pissing you off to hear me keep it real about it. It doesn't mean that I'm the problem. It means that he was the problem and you not dealing with it effectively was the problem. So, man, I'm going to wrap it up, man. They told me don't go over an hour. So I be rapping. I used to do 3-hour shows, so y'all can't knock me. You know what I mean? I used to do 3-hour shows every night, you know, for 20 years. But I do appreciate y'all for listening in, man. Again, continue to follow the trial. I'm curious. I personally think he's gonna beat it. I think these charges are BS. I don't think he's sex trafficked anybody. I don't think he sex trafficked anybody. Did he assault Cassie? Obviously. Did he beat her? Obviously. But this is not a domestic violence case. This is a federal case, which I think is completely ridiculous. So thank y'all for listening, man. Follow me right now. Don't log off. Follow my main page. Go to Daydon Facebook, Daydon Tolbert. Follow me, like me right there, and then go to DaydonTolbertShow.com and subscribe for exclusive content, man. I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all next time.